Welcome, focused learners, to today's Explainer. If you operate in the high-stakes reality of modern fleet logistics, you know keeping those American trucks moving is really only half the battle. The other half, well, it's surviving a literal mountain of regulations and those unforgiving federal audits. So today, we're diving into a critical line of defense, Synchron Safety's ELD Overwatch division. We're going to see exactly how they take raw, chaotic data and transform it into absolute legal certainty.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The Digital Overwatch Shield. 2. Hunting anomalies and errors. 3. The Audit-Ready cross-check. And 4. Eliminating your audit dread. Let's jump right in.
Part 1. The Digital Overwatch Shield.
Historically, the trucking industry has been plagued by, well, pure chaos. You know exactly what I mean. Messy, hand-scribbled paper logs, missing GPS data, crumpled fuel receipts shoved into a shoebox. It's a compliance nightmare just waiting to be audited. But the ultimate goal here is order. We want a pristine, structured digital system where every single piece of data aligns perfectly. And that's exactly where Synchron Safety's Overwatch division comes in. They exist to bridge the gap between that old-school chaos and modern audit readiness.
So what exactly is the ELD Overwatch division? Basically, they're a highly specialized team acting as the digital eyes and ears of a transport fleet. They don't just passively stare at graphs on a screen. No, they ensure that every single mile driven, every drop of fuel, and every mandatory rest period is 100% legally compliant. They're doing this incredible dual-role thing: real-time monitoring to catch immediate driver errors while proactively cross-checking documentation to shield the company from hours of service violations or, worst-case scenario, failed federal audits.
Moving on to Part 2, Hunting Anomalies and Errors.
Now, the number 8 is absolutely critical here. Every single week, our ELD auditors look back exactly 8 days into every driver's logbook. They meticulously scrutinize the data, effectively replicating the exact same process a Department of Transportation inspector would use on the side of the highway. It is literally your first line of defense to catch errors before they mutate into really expensive citations.
And this brilliantly illustrates why that's so important. Let's face it, the parameters monitored daily via platforms like Samsara or Light ELD are completely unforgiving. Drivers are hard-capped at a 14-hour workday, they require a 10-hour rest, they absolutely cannot exceed a 70-hour cycle over 8 days, and they can never drive more than 8 hours continuously. Oh, and add in the mandatory 15-minute pre-trip inspection. The margins for error here are razor-thin. The Overwatch team ensures a driver doesn't accidentally log, say, 14 minutes for an inspection instead of 15, or push their driving limit by even 10 minutes.
One of the most common anomalies they're constantly hunting for is called a jump. This happens when a truck's odometer changes, but there's no corresponding driving status recorded on the logbook. Imagine a truck stops with 500 miles on the dash, goes off duty, and when it starts back up, it reads 600 miles. Unless that truck suddenly learned how to teleport, which, spoiler alert, it didn't, where did those 100 miles go? The division actively hunts down these ghost miles to figure out if a driver simply forgot to connect their ELD or if something a bit more deceptive is at play.
Which naturally leads us to a really fascinating question. What happens when logs are superposed? Like, what happens when the data shows something physically impossible?
Well, it leads to the discovery of crazy schemes like the fake co-driver. In one case we looked at, a driver who was running out of legal hours tried to game the system by logging in a phantom co-driver. But through their meticulous monitoring, the Overwatch team spotted a massive red flag. The logs were superimposed. The data literally showed 2 different people actively driving the exact same truck at the exact same second. No way, right? By catching this absurdity internally, the division corrected it way before a DOT trooper could shut the entire operation down.
Of course, technology isn't flawless. ELD devices malfunction, or maybe a new hire needs to move a load before their tablet is fully installed. In those rare cases, the division seamlessly falls back to rigorous manual audits of paper logs. They make sure that even when the digital shield blinks, there is zero operational downtime, and the fleet stays completely compliant with the law.
Let's move to Part 3 and see how this builds, the Audit-Ready cross-check.
Okay, so there are 3 major federal audits that keep fleet owners awake at night. First up, the FMCSA audit, which zeroes in on safety, driver logs, and inspections. Next, you have the IRP audit. This one verifies the exact mileage and distance a truck traveled in each individual state. And finally, the IFTA audit, scrutinizing fuel taxes by comparing the fuel purchased in a state against the miles actually driven there. To survive this gauntlet, your data has got to be bulletproof across all three fronts.
So how do you actually prepare a fleet for that? Through a relentless three-step cross-check. Step 1, pull the physical document, like a fuel receipt or a bill of lading. Step 2, verify the exact timestamp on the digital ELD platform. Step 3, match the GPS location perfectly. Think about it. If a driver bought fuel in Ohio at 2 p.m., the ELD must show the truck on duty, physically located in Ohio at exactly 2 p.m. The physical paperwork has to perfectly mirror that digital footprint.
But what if data drops? What if a driver just forgets to scan a receipt? Well, the Overwatch division essentially acts as forensic accountants for trucking routes. Using advanced routing software like PC Miler, they can precisely reconstruct missing routes and mileage data. They basically connect the dots between known locations to calculate the exact legal mileage, ensuring your fleet's operational story has absolutely no holes in it.
Finally, Part 4, eliminating your audit dread.
So the crucial point is this: anyone can throw a bunch of receipts into a digital folder, but a messy digital folder won't save you during a DOT audit. The philosophy here is simple, and I absolutely love this quote. We don't just collect files, we build an explainable, bulletproof audit trail. Human-led expert analysis is absolutely required to weave those ELD records, spreadsheets, and physical documents together so they support each other seamlessly.
When Synchron Safety applies this level of intense daily scrutiny to your operations, the result is pretty profound: relief and confidence. Fleet owners can finally stop losing precious time and energy to the sheer anxiety of compliance headaches. By transforming that chaos into order, this oversight allows company leadership to focus entirely on what they do best: keeping their American trucks moving forward.
So, in an industry where a single compliance failure can literally ground your entire operation, are you ready to replace the dread of a surprise DOT audit with absolute certainty? Thank you so much for joining me on today's Explainer. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and we will see you next time.